Hello and welcome to another episode of Attacking Third, a CBS Sports soccer podcast. I'm Sandra Herrera, CBS Sports lead NWSL writer, joined today as always by my colleague and co-host Lisa Roman, NWSL analyst and broadcaster for CBS Sports. It's here. It's here. It's here. It's here. Yeah, yeah, yeah. The schedule has arrived. The NWSL schedule for the 2022 season, the 10th anniversary of NWSL is now here. We are going to go through that with everyone. We're going to react to it live. Hope you'll join us. Of course, we're going live right now with reactions on YouTube. So if you're in the live, drop us some comments. Let us know what you're looking forward to. Let us know what you're hyped about, what you're excited about. You can follow us on Twitter at Attacking Third for all kinds of breaking news regarding NWSL and women's soccer. But let's just hop right in. Lisa, how you doing? It's here.
It's here. It's here. We have a schedule. We have dates on a calendar. We have matchups. We have teams ready to go. Clearly, I'm hyped, Sandra. How could you not be hyped? We knew that it was dropping today on Wednesday. So we knew it was coming. And even like the fan base knew, right? It leaked earlier this week that it was coming out Wednesday. It is here. How are you feeling? Are you hyped about this? What initial reactions?
I'm hyped about it because like you could see me kind of like creeping like in the corner here because like people are still reacting to it, so my phone's like still kind of blowing up, and it's just like we're in this kind of phase in the moment, right, where the schedule drops and there's everybody's just like wide-eyed and hopeful about what's to come ahead of the 2022 NWSL season. But we're gonna go through that, and I think we're gonna start a little bit by breaking the schedule down. We've done a little bit of some episodes prior where we chatted about like the framework, right, around what 2022 would look like for NWSL, and we chatted before about how that's going to have a lengthy preseason, how there's going to be a Challenge Cup, and then there will eventually be a regular season and an end date to that, right? How it's going to end in October versus November as compared to last season, right? So there's been some chatter from us on the A3 side of things to go ahead and kind of look at and run through. But now that it's like official, there's an actual schedule out there with dates, right, with times, with teams who are getting ready to go ahead and take the pitch. I think one of the first things that we have to chat a little bit about, Lisa, is that when we looked at this schedule, and this is something that we've brought up a couple of times in the past as we sort of begun highlighting the upcoming Challenge Cup, is that this is going to be a regular season that kicks off as the Challenge Cup is going on. So adjacent to the Challenge Cup tournament taking place, that's going to be kicking off this weekend on March 18th. The regular season will get its start on April the 29th. That is opening day, the start of opening weekend for the NWSL regular season. But when we took a little bit of a deeper look at this schedule, and we kind of like went through it with a fine tooth comb, kind of seeing like, oh, is there going to be a ton of overlap? Is there going to be some conflicting things? And kind of looking at it, not too sure if it's going to be something that's irregular, in terms of the overlap, right? In terms of what we maybe see in other leagues, right, across the world. We're really looking at maybe a certain window of dates where there might be some major overlap.
Yeah, I mean, it starts the week before, so there's overlap in everything, and not knowing who wins the Challenge Cup. We're not going to know that at the start of the regular season, so that also kind of changes perception of the regular season. I'm going to say, I mean, it adds so many different factors and so many different layers to this. But the fact that there are only only 3 games scheduled on May 7th, which is when the Challenge Cup final is set. Yeah, there'll be some. What are people going to watch, right? Like I think that's something to be said. But we knew this framework was announced, but now we know specifically. I'm going to say what games will be compromised, because on Saturday, May 7th, North Carolina Courage take on Portland Thorns at 7 p.m. Eastern. Chicago Red Stars take on Washington Spirit at 8 p.m. Eastern. And then San Diego Wave FC takes on New York Gotham FC at 10 p.m. It's a home game for San Diego. So 3 matches, 6 teams potentially. If any one of them are in the Challenge Cup final, those games will be rescheduled. But also, if you're playing on Sunday, May 8th, your game's probably also going to be rescheduled. You're not going to go back to back. I guess the one good thing is there are no matches on Friday, May 6th of that weekend. So it's just 3 Saturday, 3 Sunday, with the Challenge Cup final being on Saturday, May 7th. But I mean, we have games starting Friday, April 29th, opening game of this. We have an expansion club playing in the very first game of the 2022 regular season, the 10th anniversary of the NWSL. Angel City hosting North Carolina Courage at Bank of California Stadium, 10:30 p.m. Eastern kickoff time. So it's a late one. We get NWSL after dark for us East Coasters in the very first match of the season, Sandra.
I like that you specified East Coasters, right? We've had that conversation before on A3. Like what qualifies an NWSL after dark action type of match, right? That's something that we chatted before on this. But I'm excited. Like when you get to finally see something like this, come to life, it's like, and all the chatter around it, like where is it, or why hasn't it dropped yet? Like when you think about different leagues, right, or different soccer leagues, you also think about like different soccer cultures that come into play, right? So whether you're looking at a soccer league that's in, whether it's like Serie A, like in Italy, or if you're looking at Spain at La Liga, or women's FA, Super League in England, or here in the States, right? With it's almost like it feels like it's a little bit of American soccer culture to sort of have these jokes around NWSL and the schedule, unfortunately, like the constant wondering like where it is. And we saw all of the jokes kind of flying on social media, talking about where the schedule could be, right? And whose hat is it under, and who forgot it on wherever, if it was even on this planet, right? So I love everybody coming through. Once again, and the internet remains undefeated, but it's here now, so people can kind of comb through it and see. Obviously, if you root for a specific club, you're going to be paying attention to who's going to be, or when those matches are going to be taking place, what times they're going to be kicking off. But every single club, right, is going to be participating in opening weekend. So from April 29th all the way through to May 1st, it is going to be Angel City kicking things off against North Carolina, like Lisa mentioned, on April 29th. But then there's a doubleheader for Saturday on April the 30th with Portland Thorns and the Current, and then May 1st, the triple header closing things out there. So to see 6 matches, it feels a little bit different, right? We're used to having kind of like a slate of 5 games, right? We were chatting a little bit about that too, in terms of attacking third in our scheduling and how we cover matches and how we cover NWSL here on the show. And we're going to be adding another fixture, right, to these weekends as we move forward.
I'm excited to talk about it because there are 6 going into it. And for most of this regular season schedule, games are on the weekend between Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. A handful of Wednesdays throw in there. The first one coming towards the end of May, May 18th. 3 matches slated for that Wednesday. A handful of other Wednesdays throughout the regular season. Monday or 2. Monday, May 30th, there's also a match. So these games aren't really set to Friday, Saturday, Sunday, or whatever that may be, because Wednesdays are pretty traditional. And then like I said, the Monday coming in there at the end of May for that one. Some Tuesdays coming in towards the summertime and scheduling. But I think it's important to note, which was an issue before, or just topics of conversation before. This is balanced framework, which is the first time this has been happening in the NWSL, because there's a smaller number of games to actually be played with 12 teams in the league. They will compete in a 22 match regular season with 11 home games and 11 away games. Because of this, only 22 regular season games. It allows for fewer games to be scheduled during the FIFA windows, which makes for fewer conflicts for the national and international players that play in the NWSL and then on the national teams for the clubs, which I love that. It's such a shame when these players don't get to compete in their club contests because they have to go compete for their nation. So the fact that the NWSL really took into account the FIFA windows that are happening throughout this summer with World Cup qualifiers, it's much more beneficial to have all players there. It makes for a little bit more of an even playing field for all clubs, imagine. And that's only possible due to a balanced schedule with 22 games. But I'm excited about this, Sandra. Are there any games in particular that jump out to you, or matchups? I know you're local to Chicago. You go to a lot of the Chicago matches. Anything there you're really keyed in on? Did you get a chance to dive into the dates that intensely?
Well, we're gonna see what happens on May 7th, right? That's gonna be something that we're keeping an eye on in terms of what's gonna be happening in the Challenge Cup, and then what could possibly happen in the regular season. But as of now, there's a May 7th game that's slated between the Red Stars and the Spirit, right? A little bit of a 2021 NWSL Championship final rematch. I think that's one that people might kind of zero in on and kind of have circled on their calendar. And I know we're staying kind of early in this first half or upper half of the season, but maybe that's just because it's sort of what sort of looms closer than some of the other matches later in the month. But I'm also looking at maybe that very first matchup, that May 1st matchup between Washington Spirit and OL Reign. I've got OL Reign ranked high in my own personal power rankings, right? I think they're going to make a run for some titles this year in 2022. I would love to see them kind of go out there and grab that very long, elusive, long awaited NWSL championship for the franchise. So, I'm looking for that one as well. I think with the Spirit coming in as reigning champions, they're going to have that target on their back, right? And they were the team that kind of bounced whole Reign out of contention during the playoffs. So I think that could be a fun one in that May 1st matchup. But I think this league has shown us in the past, right, that it's always the type of league with its competitiveness that it boils down to like the final handful of games
Yeah.
of the season. Now, with an expanded league, I'm not too sure if we're going to see that again this year. Last season, when we saw the return of a regular season, right? Because there was a canceled 2020, which only had a Challenge Cup and a small fall series. 2021 was the return of a regular season. We got to see players make their return to the pitch and navigate that kind of long grind, right? That heavy marathon of a regular season, and kind of get back and get acclimated to that. And I think because of that, we saw the league kind of come down to a decision day scenario with that final week of games where there were a number of playoff spots still in play. So if we
And
want to take a
there
look
was also
closer,
extra matches that week too, due to rescheduling,
yes, due to a pause
cancellation.
into the pause in the season, correct. Um, we'll see. Like, are some of those games that could possibly be rescheduled from the Challenge Cup going to come in the later half of the schedule? Will that come into play at all? Because that's always going to be something that I'm going to keep an eye on, even as the league finds itself expanding from 10 teams to 12 teams. I think the concept behind that is just going to make it even more of a competitive playing field, right? So wouldn't that contribute to the argument that this season could still be as competitive as ever, and that it might and playoff positions still might come down to the last final weeks of the season? I think that's more of an argument for that type of ending to a season. So I'm absolutely looking at those maybe final 4 weeks, for like 6 to 4 weeks of the season, where teams might be going head to head and maybe knocking each other out or needing to come into, finding some different scenarios come into play. So I think we'll be looking at maybe the middle of the table, right? And then sort of looking at those matches for those teams in the middle of the table into how things will be shaking off in maybe late September and early October, because the regular season is slated to end Sunday, October the 2nd, with playoffs beginning throughout the month of October, with the NWSL Championship final happening Halloween weekend. Spooky vibes are back. NWSL Championship is going to be held on October 29th. Predetermined site has typically been the tradition for the NWSL Championship, and I'm hopeful that there will be an announcement on that as well, hopefully sooner rather than later. But I like it. I think the biggest takeaways coming out of this, there's always been a lot of chatter around having a schedule that sort of has that balance
Mhm.
within it. And I think for the first time, maybe in the league's history, this sort of is finally kind of striking that balance. I think that both league and players were looking for.
Yeah, I mean, it's the 10th year of this season, and we joked earlier everyone in this NWSL community has been joking about this schedule drop, but it's way earlier than we got it in 2021. So there are progress and there are steps being made. And even looking at this schedule, I personally love looking at the location of these games because it's Children's Mercy Park, it's Red Bull Arena, it's Lumen Field. There's no baseball stadiums. They're big stadiums. They're great fields and good pitches with a lot of seats for fans. And I enjoy that as well. That's another aspect of the schedule that you get to look at. And it's mostly consistent for these teams as well, playing their home games at consistent stadiums for the most part, which that was not the case in 2021. But it'll be a good long season, shorter than last year, but more teams, so maybe just as long, from Friday, April 29th to Sunday, October 2nd, and then playoffs start with the regular season concluding and the championship match on October 29th. It's all coming to an end, where 2021, November 20th was the championship match. So it's shorter by just under a month almost. But Sandra, it's here. We got our schedule before the Challenge Cup dropped. That's way earlier than last year, 2021. It came just 2 weeks before the regular season started. We have more time now. People can schedule their flights to go to matches. They can buy their home season tickets. They can travel to stadiums and do some of that, because I know on my bucket list this year, it's to try to get to an expansion side home match and see what that atmosphere is about.
Yeah, I think now that the schedule is out, we know. I think you and I both know, maybe more than some others, that the casual fan to the most hardcore fan of this league and these teams are very, very invested, right? When it comes to the news that happens or drops around the league. So now that the schedule has dropped, now that there are dates out there, my hope is that if people are able, of course, because there's not an NWSL club in every person's, or every fan's market. But my hope is that now that there's a schedule out, that people can take a look, at some dates, at some times, at some teams, the opposition. Maybe you want to go to a game to see a different team perform, right? I'm sure there's a ton of casual fans out there who root for more than just one club. So my hope is that now that this is out there, folks can plan their things a little bit better. If you're someone who travels for games, right? Let us know. I always like to hear from fans who like to make, a weekend away, to catch a game. Those are often very, very, very dedicated folks. So I'm excited to sort of see people make their plans and sort of nail in and write in and pencil in the dates moving forward. But stay hyped. Stay hyped. Stay with us. Stay with Attacking Third. We are going to update you all on any changes that come up within the schedule in the near future. NWSL Challenge Cup is kicking off. NWSL action has returned. We have a regular season schedule. It's all coming into focus. Stay tuned for us for more. Games kick off for Challenge Cup beginning March 18th all the way through opening weekend. So make sure you catch out all of the games on Paramount Plus, and stay tuned with us for any more updates on the regular season schedule. Thank you all for joining us and listening to us give our first reactions to the schedule. We always like to come on here and, sort of hit you with some authenticity a little bit. So let's keep the energy going. Everybody, check out our team by team previews. If you've missed them, if you're looking for a certain team preview, you can go back in our episodes and check those out. Drop us your thoughts all about the upcoming regular season. Follow us on Twitter at Attacking Third, or catch us on video at youtube.com/Attacking Third. Hit subscribe. Leave us a rating and review on Spotify. Leave us a rating, review, and question on iTunes, and we will answer it as part of a mailbag segment. So you hit us with 5 stars on iTunes and you drop us a question. Lisa and I will answer your question during an Attacking Third mailbag segment. And we'll be back on Friday with an NWSL Challenge Cup preview for you all. Thanks for listening. For Sandra Herrera and Lisa Roman, this was Attacking Third.